climate change, but has anybody heard of a real-life example of how this is affecting an area? Understanding the real-life effects of global climate change not only brings awareness to you, but allows us to understand how this big, scary concept actually works. I've been studying the effects of global climate change both in my academic schooling the past 5 years and throughout my entire life. I have a soft spot in my heart for wildlife and a particular obsession with orcas, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the orca expansion into the Arctic Ocean. He's peeing. Increased temperatures are causing the Arctic sea ice to melt, allowing the orca whales access to areas they normally didn't have access to before, and therefore new prey species which are already at a vulnerable point due to their changing ecosystem. Today we'll discuss the history of orca whales in the Arctic, the effects of their expansion, and the economic and sociological effects on the native peoples. Our first point of discussion is the history of orca whales in the Arctic. Orca sightings in the Arctic are historically rare, with absolutely no knowledge of these whales in some areas prior to the 20th century, and sporadic sightings in other areas. The 21st century has seen an exponential increase in orca sightings, with reports more than doubling over the course of a decade, appearing annually in places where there used to be very few sightings each decade. The reason orca sightings were so rare in the Arctic is because they couldn't access the waters due to their large dorsal fins. Most northern whales don't have large dorsal fins or don't have dorsal fins at all, and that's the reason why orcas couldn't access their dorsal fins can't break through the ice, and that's why they were never found in the Arctic when there's ice year-round.
Right.
Honey, I love you. You gotta be on the floor. These whales are taking advantage of the lack of ice and traveling to places in the Arctic they had never been documented before. With the second largest brain of all ocean mammals, they have the ability to learn from one another, making them remarkably intelligent and social hunters. Our second point of discussion is the effects of the orca whale expansion into the Arctic. The introduction of an apex predator into an already delicate ecosystem due to the increase in temperatures has the potential to throw the entire habitat out of whack and severely impact the ecosystem as a whole in an incredibly negative way. Orcas are directly affecting beluga whales, narwhals, and bowhead whales since they are the main prey species orcas hunt in these areas. Bowhead whales were hunted nearly to extinction in the early 1900s due to commercial whaling and have moved from the endangered to threatened and now the species of concern list in the past 30 years. It's been observed by locals that orcas seem to prefer bowheads over other marine mammals due to their large size, slow speeds, and independent travel compared to belugas and narwhals, which travel in pods. If sea ice continues to decline in bays where the bowheads go to calve and raise their young during the summer months, it's likely that orcas will move into these areas to prey on the mother's calves and juveniles because they're just open to that because they're used to being protected. Bowhead populations have been on the rise, but with this new threat, their numbers could dwindle once again. Narwhals are found in the Arctic year-round navigating ice packs and previously only faced predation from polar bears and humans. But now orcas are hunting these mysterious marine mammals that's not only affecting the species, but also the local populations. Our final topic of discussion is the economic and sociological effects orcas' expansion into the Arctic is having on native peoples. The Inuit tribes in the Canadian Arctic rely on the species orcas are hunting up in the Arctic, specifically narwhals, which provide vitamin C to the people through their skin. They eat the skin and it gives them vitamin C, and that's the only access to vitamin C these people have.
Wow.
And we have to have vitamin C to survive, so it's really vital that they be able to continue to hunt narwhals, and if orcas are hunting narwhals, they're dwindling the populations down. Inuits also feed on bowhead and beluga whales as well as seals, all of which are important to the local Inuit peoples, and orcas are hunting all of these marine mammals. If the orca continue feeding on these species that are already delicate, they could cause a mass decrease in the species of Arctic marine mammals in a short time and remove an important food source for the Inuit tribes that hunt them, not to mention impacting the ecology and food chain of the Arctic in a detrimental way. The summer months are the times of the year the ice caps are beginning to decline the most, and it's expected that by 2030 the ice caps will completely disappear completely during the summer months because of global climate change. To conclude, warming waters usually affect organisms from the bottom of the food chain first, which in turn impacts the diets of animals higher up. But in the Arctic, something else is happening. Changes are underway at the very top of the food chain as access to Arctic waters opens up as well as from the bottom. So they're getting hit on both sides, and it can severely affect the ecosystem and completely destroy it. Orca whales have begun turning Arctic ecology on its head. From the history of orca whales in the Arctic to the effects of orca whale expansion, the economic and sociological effects on the local peoples. We're seeing a direct impact on the Arctic ecosystem due to global climate change, melting sea ice, and opening up waters to an apex predator onto an already fragile ecosystem.
Good job. Good job.